we do set up a lot of GMBs for one company, depending on the situation, the city, the niche. Sometimes we'll build multiple sites and then we'll put GMBs like in Raleigh for one niche. We built 7 sites where it's like, I felt like there was enough traffic that was kind of like unrelated to the original one. And it was a big enough area that we were trying to cover where we would benefit from that. So we basically, and it was a niche that was going to be tougher. So for instance, I've given this example a few times, plumbing. Plumbing is a tough competitive niche. There's going to be like hundreds of plumbing companies in any like major and metropolitan area. So instead of just like trying to go for plumbing and then rank for like hot water heater, you could build a hot water heater site. And then you could be more specific on that subject. So when Google's trying to decide who has the best information, and they're like, okay, we've got like all these generalists that are covering plumbing, and then we got this guy who's just like talking just about hot water heaters. So you could do that, and then you could do like sewer repair and maybe like a water filtration system and like, I don't know, just like, so if you're doing it that way where you're building multiple sites, then you can have, each one of those sites can have separate GMBs. Or if we were just going to build one plumbing site, you could have like GMBs that are kind of going after the different sub niches. So that if you do it the second way, you're probably not going to rank as well for the individual terms as you do it the first way, but you don't have to build as many sites. So you kind of have to evaluate this. You've got this like tool chest here, and you're like, okay, which tool do I need for the situation? And I also look at my client where I'm like, does this client look like he's someone that's going to just like be the kingpin in this town and just like take over, or they can't even answer the phone? So like, I don't really want to invest 7 websites in them. Or maybe like, hey, I love this niche, I love this town. Like if this client can't handle it, I'll find somebody else who can. So you just kind of like step back and like come up with a plan and then execute on it. So, but what we almost always do is we're going to set up multiple GMBs for like one company. Like, you know, if the city has 70,000 people in it, then maybe one GMB can like take over the whole city. But if we're going after like Miami, right, in this like whole South Florida area, then I'm probably going to have like one for like Miami with like, maybe I'll have like a water heater Miami, and I'll also have like the plumbing Miami with like the drain. And then I'm going to have like Fort Lauderdale. So I'll end up have like, there's some, you can have 20 GMBs. Like, what do you want? What do you want from this? Like for me, I want my clients to be paying me like $5,000 a month, right? So to do that, I've got to justify that cost. And to be able to justify that cost, I've got to have a lot of leads coming in. I've got to like take over the whole city, the whole market, right? And, you know, as I mentioned this, like the way I view that homepage is I view that as kind of like my property, that first page in Google, where I'm like, I'm coming, I want that whole page. Like I want to just like bury the competition, right? And that's like, if you have that attitude, like this is how you take your you know, your client's business from maybe they got 1 crew to have like 11 crews, right? So there's a guy that you know, he had been in business for like 25 years, and he had 2 crews after 25 years. And after working with us for 2.5 years, he's gone from 2 crews to like 11 crews, right? And that's because we took over the whole city, right? And he's one of the clients that pays us the most money. So like this stuff is related, and like you're gonna get you're like what your clients are willing to pay you guys can take that as feedback. Like, and it may be that this client is no good, but if you kind of hear the same story from a bunch of different people, like it's definitely possible that like everybody in this niche sucks. Is like, I think Adam McChesney, you know, he's starting that windshield repair, and you just like have dealing with a bunch of like people that like weren't really business, like good business people. So he started his own, and now his business is like doing really well. That exists sometimes, but a lot of times, like we have one in Vegas, for instance, that produces a lot of leads, and we've had a really, really hard time selling it. When we started looking at the leads, we decided we're going to take it as feedback. We started looking at the leads, and just the things that we're ranking for are not the types of jobs that these people want. So like, we're going to pivot, and we're going to start trying to rank for things that are more important. And so like, we're going to add value to our site and change it instead of just being like, hey, these people, they don't want to work or whatever. Like, well, like if somebody came to me and was like, hey, I want you to build a website for $11, like that's not a good lead for me, right? So like, that's going to be equivalent to this. So it's important to like, I think we get in this habit of just kind of like saying like the business owners are not good at what they do or they're lazy or whatever. But I think it's important to like take some of the stuff as feedback, look in the mirror a little bit and be like, what am I actually doing? Am I like giving them value, or is it this person just like no good?